Now, let's talk about what causes the loss of play. It starts from when they're babies. Now, sometimes us adults, we don't understand what play is for a baby. Many times, when adults see a baby lying down all by herself, they think to themselves, oh, poor baby, all alone, have nothing to do, looking at the ceiling, so bored. Let me go pick her up. This can't be further from truth. For a baby, everything is new. When they first came in the world, everything is new. Every sensation is new. Every sound is new. Every color is new. Everything visually and how it feels on their body. And their own body is also new. So they're learning how to wiggle their toes and they're learning how to manipulate their body to do what they want to do. So everything is new. So whatever the baby is doing, essentially, they're learning. And essentially, that could be classified as play for them. And even if they're just lying down on their back and watching, maybe they're watching the shadows or how the fan moves, for example, or what is my mother's movement sound like. So they are focusing on all those things. So much learning is happening. And this is why it's very easy for babies to get overstimulated and overwhelmed by the sensory overload, by the amount of information that's coming into their brain that they need to process. But this is why I recommend that for your baby, for him to be calmer, I would recommend a more neutral space, not a lot of color and not too noisy. The baby needs regular breaks and keep it simple. Like something they could chew on, something they could rattle, but really, babies don't really need much toys. The other thing that stops your baby from playing is being strapped a lot. And we are moving towards this culture of the baby is always strapped, either strapped into the feeding chair or strapped in the car seat. Or inside the house, we're strapping them on the bouncy chair or whatever we're strapping in because we want to contain the baby so the baby doesn't make a mess or whatever. We want to contain the baby. And now, so that also causes the loss of play. It is a skill. Essentially, it is a skill. It is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more you train it, the better it becomes. So it is a skill the babies need to practice. And the more they're let to practice that skill, the better they get at it. So leaving them on the floor, have a soft mat, put them on it on their tummy time, have one or two items around that they can maybe reach towards, and they're essentially trying to reach. And even if the baby seems like they're doing nothing, the baby's still focused on something, trying to learn something. All right. Another thing that causes a loss of play is overstimulation. Now, what is overstimulation? And the overstimulation is the sensory overload, essentially. So there's so much information coming in, and the baby just doesn't want to focus on anything now. The baby is so overwhelmed to play. And the last thing is the attention addiction. Babies become so used to getting attention all the time that they constantly want attention. Because there's nothing better than having somebody carry you around all the time. You're in the nice, cozy arms and carried around everywhere, you're feeling absolutely safe. The babies love that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then the only thing is, then if everybody is talking to the baby, everybody's giving them too much attention everywhere, then what happens is the baby gets used to that. Then later on in life, for example, you were living in a big family and then you had to move to another country. Now you don't have that many entertainers for the baby, but the baby is addicted to their attention. And now the baby becomes really fussy and clingy. Another scenario could be that you yourself is constantly talking to the baby all the time, while you're working in the kitchen, doing whatever. You're constantly talking to the baby, constantly in their face, playing. Basically, we're entertaining them, playing for them, showing them rat holes and exciting them, constantly narrating things, constantly giving them attention. And when you drag so much, when you entertain the baby so much, that's what baby gets addicted to. Then when you want the baby to go down on the floor and play by themselves, they don't want to because they've gotten so used to you entertaining them. So these are the reasons that sometimes our kids lose the independent play element, which is us not understanding what the play is for a baby, or babies being strapped a lot, not much independent play time, or overstimulated baby, or baby being attention addicted. Now, it's okay for children to have some clingy phases when they're teething, when they're going through something hard, and it's okay, this is completely normal. But if your baby wants to be on you all the time, then that is a problem. Right. So for older kids, how does the loss of play happen? The loss of play happens with the technology. So if your child is addicted to technology, devices, the devices are so entertaining that everyday life becomes really boring. And they're not going to want to play because they don't get the same stimulation they get from devices. That's why the longer your child is on devices, the shorter attention span they have. They're not able to focus on a task. And they're not able to concentrate on something. And they want very high entertainment, flashing lights. That's what they get used to. And that's what they want. Very high level of stimulation. And obviously, the normal life does not provide that for them. So then they're not interested in everyday life things. Another thing that causes the loss of play is for you to have high expectations of children. High expectations, like a lot of pressure on them. They need to do homework, they need to do this, they need to do that. They have to have certain skills. And there's a saying that you have to always keep your children busy so they don't bother you. And this is true to some extent for you to provide for them the activities. However, if you have scheduled the day till the last minute, then obviously they are not going to have that much independent playtime. The next thing that loses a child's play is overstimulation. Again, the toddlers become used to you entertaining them all the time. So then that's what they expect. And then the next is the obsession with safety. So parents' obsession with safety. It is a real saying. It's called safetyism. It's called safetyism. And you'll find a lot of parenting experts talking about that. It is parents' obsession with safety where they're not letting their children do anything remotely risky. Not dangerous, remotely risky. Like climbing frames, for example. They're like, oh, no, get down, you're going to get hurt. You must know that whenever children are playing, there is an element of risk in it, inherently, in all the activities. There is some sort of risk. And that is the normal part of life, navigating risk. That's an essential skill. So risk in small dosage is healthy for children. It's good for them. For example, if your child is only used to sleeping in a confined bed with railing around it so that he doesn't fall at night. Now, at that time, I never learned how to stay on bed at night. But if you make the bed close to the ground, leave the edges open, and have carpet underneath so the child falls and doesn't get hurt, for example, this is a small risk. It would teach them a very good life skills. If you're too obsessed with safety, you're not letting your children explore the way they want to explore. For example, you're not letting them play with kitchen objects like butter knives and things like that. You're not letting them touch it at all. If your children are 5 and 6, you're still not letting them touch anything hot, for example. That is called safetyism. And that also kills the independent play. Another thing that kills independent play is not developing the play skill. They're not given enough practice to strengthen that muscle. Not given enough practice of independent playing. Then if the children are not used to it, then obviously they're going to find a hard time playing by themselves.